all studied American democracy to see what, these were college students, some of them from Al-Quds University, University of Tel Aviv. They had all studied to see what there was in American democracy that could be valuable for their own country and what it was that wasn't working. And they developed a curriculum. The preceding year, they had done it, and this was the second year. On the first day, I met with them at a place where there was a sign in Oberlin. Oberlin had been a stop on what was called the Underground Railroad, which was a way for slaves to go from the south, where they were property, to go from place to place where they would be helped to get to the north, where they could live without being subjected to slavery. A very famous place. So, then that sign, they showed, this was, it was dedicated to a place where an amazing thing had happened. A slave who had escaped to Oberlin was captured by another town and brought to the other town to be returned under what was called the Fugitive Slave Act, which made it legal for somebody to take a slave who had escaped and bring them back to their owner. This town had 13, 14 people that got together, went to the other town, and recaptured that slave and brought them back, and with the risk of their lives. A lawsuit happened after that, but the Oberlin charged the other town with kidnapping, so the end was the slave remained in Oberlin. And there it was commemorating that at that spot, but also was a big sign that the number of people who had been killed in various wars. From Oberlin, from the town. About 40 people in the Korean War. About 80 people in Vietnam. About other conflicts. And 350 people from the revolutionary, from the Civil War. The Civil War was very dramatic. People didn't realize that for America to emerge as a whole country, it had to go through a horrible, horrible war. And that war was all about slavery and economic rights and economic interests. And there they were, the Palestinian students, the Israeli students, a little anxious, many of them had never met Israeli or Palestinian or American students in this way. And I said, as they were presenting, can I sing a song? This is a song that was part of the Underground Railroad. It told of the instructions of how a slave could get from the south to the north. It says, follow the drinking gourd. The drinking gourd is the Big Dipper. And the Big Dipper points north. And it tells the story. And it was sung at the time of the Civil War. So I started singing. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow
the drinking gourd.
For the old man is awaiting for to carry freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow
the drinking gourd.
Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is awaiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Well, the riverbank will make a mighty good road. The riverbank will make a mighty good road. Dead trees show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, traveling on. The peg foot referred to somebody who was very important to the Underground. Very important in the Underground Railroad, who would leave his mark in the dirt, and where he was marching, that was where you could follow to freedom. Well, the riverbank will make a mighty good road. Dead trees show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking road. Follow the drinking road. Follow the drinking road.
For the old man is awaiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd.
Well, the river ends between two hills. Follow the drinking gourd. There's another river on the other side. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking. At this point, I said to them, you realize, for this nation, the United States, to resolve the issue of slavery, that the number of people killed was unimaginable. Look at the statistics. The struggle that you are a part of now, like that of the United States, to get from a country where there was slavery to a country that went to the Civil Rights Movement, and now we have an Afro-American president, is unimaginable. I sang at the March on Washington in 1963, which is just a continuation of the Underground Railroad. And now, 50 years later, we still have racism in America, but just a little bit compared to what we have. I said, join me in honoring this history by singing this. Sing this. That's what I said. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is awaiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Now, they were much younger than you, but they're not used to singing, and certainly not singing together in the company of people, you know, from another country. So they looked at me like I was a bit crazy. And it's going to be, but I'm going to do something that we did at Occupy Wall Street. Who here knows what Occupy Wall Street is? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you know what Occupy Wall Street was. Occupy Wall Street was a time when individuals came to Wall Street and they parked themselves there. They stayed there and they slept in sleeping bags and they grew and they grew and they grew. And they said because the moneyed interests of the United States are controlling policy. And the wealth of the nation is going into the 1%. That was, the 1% gets, this huge wealth has been created in the United States, but the vast majority has gone to a very small percentage. And they came up and they weren't allowed to have microphones. They weren't allowed to have speakers. So they developed a way to talk, but they changed. It was something incredible. And it still goes on, but only a little bit. But this is how they would be heard when they didn't have sound systems. The person who wanted to speak would say, "Mic check," and they would say back, "Mic check." I'll try that with you. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic